Call me, Buddy Wilson, your newest country financial representative in Clinton, at 217-935-5620. Let's chat about your insurance needs today.
WHOW, the Big 1520 across central Illinois, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 FM in McLean County, is coming to the Cerro Gordo B-Mint School District. It's the WHOW School Spotlight, broadcasting live from the Cerro Gordo District Office on Monday, January 30th from 9 till 10 in the morning. Listen as we visit the superintendent and administration talking about the great things they're doing for students when we bring the WHOW School Spotlight to the Cerro Gordo B-Mint School District on Monday, January 30th from 9 till 10. This WHOW School Spotlight stop is brought to you by State Bank of B-Mint, with locations in B-Mint, Cerro Gordo, and Monticello, is proud to sponsor this Cerro Gordo B-Mint School Spotlight.
It is 10 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Before we get to the news here on this Wednesday, let's quickly take a look at some limited school closures here for today. We start with Blue Ridge Schools, who will have an e-learning day today. DeLand Weldon Schools also will have an e-learning day. Warrensburg Latham Schools will have an e-learning day today. B-Mint Schools will have an e-learning day today. And Maroa-Forsyth Schools will also have an e-learning day on this Wednesday. One more time to highlight those closings and cancellations here for this morning. Again, all e-learning days for Blue Ridge Schools, B-Mint Schools, DeLand Weldon Schools, Warrensburg Latham Schools, and Maroa-Forsyth Schools here for this Wednesday. And a reminder, there is a winter storm warning that is in effect until 6 p.m. here for this evening, as we anticipate 2 to 4 inches of snow with some locally higher amounts possible. This will be for central and west central Illinois until 6 p.m. this evening. Plan on slippery road conditions during your morning commute. Snow showers could maintain slick patches on roads into the afternoon as well. Use caution, slow down, and get the latest in Illinois road conditions at gettingaroundillinois.com. 12 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. Kelly Rempe has been working with the Neighborhood Care Center for a few years now, and earlier this month, she stepped into an internship at the DeWitt County nonprofit. Cody Monkman is the executive director for the Neighborhood Care Center and told Regional Radio Tuesday on the WHOW Morning Show Rempe will be working with him to work closely with what the organization calls its mission partners.
Kelly, she is the intern for Neighborhood Care Center for the first 6 months of this year. Mm-hmm. And she just started in January. I wanted to bring her on and introduce her to you and everybody else. I think I've talked at times went on air about how, like, in the last year, we've went through a lot of growing pains in regards to having 2 care center networks that are working with completely different sets of small towns. And part of that, naturally, there's some growing pains that we've been going through that also impacts me and what I do. And most of my work is working with mission partners and helping them do work with community members. Kelly is coming on board. Essentially, the end goal is for her to help me in working with mission partners. I think I even mentioned on here that the Clinton Care Center Network has about 150 mission partners. And I mean, that's really hard to work with 150 mission partners.
So I started just unloading the truck at the care center when the food would come in for the pantry. And then I just slowly got more and more involved. I enjoyed being there. And I started working as a market, as a bagger, and then just kind of slowly wanted to do more and more. And Cody approached me about an internship, and I thought, why not?
According to Monkman, Rempe was able to use her role at the neighborhood care center to connect with seniors. Connections she says have blossomed into friendships with a few individuals.
No, I'm actually really looking forward to it. I've enjoyed this last month. I've been kind of open my eyes to the other parts of the care center that aren't just the market, as well as some of the mission partners I never would have met before, and just learning about all the kind of behind the scenes things that you never really thought about. I think it's exciting.
And just now thinking of this, so I've talked to people on here before about how so much of neighborhood care center and what we do is just reasons to meet people.
Right.
Okay. So share in regards to how you have, you mentioned how you started with helping unload the trailer and all that. And then that kind of led into bagging groceries with neighborhood market and meeting other people in the community. But then there was this evolution of like, we had a conversation on like, what is your grander calling? What's your purpose? And you're like, senior citizens. Okay. So share with everyone how you leveraged neighborhood market for the sake of your work with the senior population.
Okay. So I started kind of reaching out. Cody had me reach out to somebody that came in the market that was a senior citizen. So through that, we actually kind of developed this amazing friendship. And then I've met a couple others that I'm now, I guess we're just having a friendship that maybe they're lonely and they need help. And, we do that. And I think through the mission partners that I meet, like there's always somebody somewhere that you can reach out to. And it's just really, God's just been throwing people at me left and right about how I can help.
Rempe hopes to find some direction in this role, and Monkman believes that is the perfect reason for her to be an intern in the organization because it embodies what the neighborhood care center is all about.
Well, I hope to kind of create a new future for myself, not only just for me personally and what I want to do, but also help encourage others, as having like a coaching background. I feel like I've always been good at kind of pushing people forward and what they're, there's a quote that I had seen that was, I'm an agitator to the complacent. And, and I always find that very true with me. Like, I like to push people out of their comfort zone. And I feel like that's what Cody's doing to me, which in turn will help me push others out of their comfort zone. And I just am kind of letting God lead the way and hope being obedient to what he wants me to do, and then he'll open the door for me when it's ready.
For sure. And here's a great thing that answer fits perfect with our value of stumble forward. We are experimenting all the time when it comes to working with people. And obviously there are certain things, especially in organized care center services, that this is just the way we do things. But one of our values when it comes to being a mission partner or a volunteer is we stumble forward, we experiment, we have an open hand in trying new things without knowing what the end result is going to be.
Rempe indicates her interactions so far with the missions partners in the neighborhood care center have been limited to the feed program, so she hopes to get to know more of those individuals in other parts of the nonprofit. The coldest part of the winter weather is perhaps still on the horizon, so a Department of Natural Resources police captain is putting the call out now for outdoorsmen to play it safe. DNR Conservation Police Captain John Williamson, whether you're headed to the water to ice fish from your boat, or do some waterfowl hunting, have a life jacket, especially in the winter.
Just the safety things for us, make sure that you have all your boat equipment. Just because you're duck hunting doesn't mean that you don't have to have your life jackets. You have to fire extinguisher, that sort of things. Make sure your duck boats are ready to go. And it's probably even more important that time of year when you're duck hunting to wear your life jacket all the time. Because you go in the water with that cold water, you're not, your ability to stay swimming is a lot less than what it would be during the summer, that sort of thing. For sure, it's one of those things we want to make sure that they're realizing that they need to take extra precautions when that water's cold.
If you're hoping to get out and do some ice fishing, whether it's local or elsewhere, perhaps in the upper Midwest, Captain Williamson says to watch the weather and make sure the water is going to be frozen. He reminds of some conditions to be on the lookout for.
If you're out and I've been out when it's been like 5 degrees and that wind's blowing and there's nothing, it's water staying open. I've been duck hunting in it. It's all fine. Then that wind drops down and you can watch the ice start freezing around your decoys.
Really?
And start building out. It's
Wow.
really crazy to see, but it's just that turbulence and that wind motion, just be cautious about any ice now. When it freezes back up, I'm sure there was 5-6 inches ice made in no time with the weather we had.
Yeah.
As cold. If you're going to a normal, they say normal size lake, a lake that you can see across, that sort of thing, it's basically the same thing we have here. Just watch your weather, see what's going on. If it's been freezing and thawing, be really cautious of that ice. Make sure, like say, have that life jacket on as you're walking across the ice. Again, people think that's kind of crazy, but you know what? There's different springs can happen, everything else, thin that ice out.
Right.
Make sure you have ice picks. Those like off your sleeves. There's a string that runs across them. They're out by your hand. So if you fall in, you can reach up and pull yourself out, that sort of thing. Just dress for the weather. And the other part is be prepared at your truck. What if you somehow you accidentally go in the water, have some clothes there that you can change into, that sort of thing, and stay dry.
Captain Williamson says ice fishing is a great recreational activity where you can catch several types of fish that may not be as active when the weather is warm, especially the farther north you go.
What's neat about some of those places they go on, some of those big lakes, like Lake Erie, different places, like these huge lakes, they go out and they have to drive around ice flows and everything where ice crashes together and makes, it's just a whole other experience. Yeah, you have to have GPS to get around on the ice. Panfish, so crappie, bluegill, and then a lot of guys, like especially up in the northern areas, will fish for walleyes through the ice. Eel pout or a calico fish, you should look that one up when you get there. They're one that get a little more active when it gets cold. Fish up in the extreme north. Around here, nothing is is particularly that more active during the ice, but it's just a normal fish usually catch.
For regulations on fishing in Illinois, Captain Williamson directs everyone to dnr.illinois.gov. It is 21 minutes after the hour here on this Wednesday morning. Coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. One more time, checking in on those closings and cancellations we have here for this morning. These are all e-learning days for local schools, B-Mint schools, Blue Ridge schools, D-Land Weldon schools, Maroa-Forsyth schools, Warrensburg Latham schools, all closed today, utilizing an e-learning day on this Wednesday. A winter storm warning remains in effect until 6 p.m. this evening. What National Weather Service in Lincoln indicates 2 to 4 inches of snow with locally higher amounts possible. This is for central and west central Illinois until 6 p.m. this evening. Slippery road conditions are likely during your morning commute. Snow showers could maintain slick patches on roads into the afternoon. Slow down and use caution as you travel. You can also get the latest in road conditions at gettingaroundillinois.com. A break here. More to come on the WHOW Morning Show.
At Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Baum Motor Company in Farmer City, our job is to help you and solve your transportation needs. This is Scott Baum. Both in Clinton or Farmer City, we'll listen and find options for a different vehicle. Or we'll give you repair options to keep that car, truck, or SUV safe and trouble-free so you can continue with your busy schedule. If it has to do with transportation, we're here to help. Visit our full-service team today in Clinton or Farmer City. Baum Chevrolet Buick, right from the start.
WHOW, the Big 1520 across central Illinois. 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 FM in McLean County is coming to the Monticello School District. It's the WHOW School Spotlight, broadcasting live from the Monticello District Office on Tuesday, January 31st from 9 till 10 in the morning. Listen as we visit the superintendent and administration, talking about the great things they're doing for students when we bring the WHOW School Spotlight to the Monticello School District on Tuesday, January 31st from 9 till 10. This WHOW School Spotlight stop is brought to you by Kirby Medical Center, located at 1000 Medical Center Drive in Monticello.
We're 23 minutes after the hour here on this Wednesday morning. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. We stream to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Governor J.B. Pritzker is announcing nearly $114 million in investment in downstate transit project. The money is available through the state's Rebuild Illinois Capital Program and the third round of funding for transit, says the governor.
32 downstate transit partners, both rural and urban, who will receive a total investment of $114 million. This will increase transportation options and create more good-paying jobs all across downstate Illinois.
Projects include making transit vehicles electric and setting up charging stations in St. Clair County, hybrid bus replacement in Champaign-Urbana, new bus shelters in Coles County, and more.
An on-demand microtransit vehicles in Bloomington Normal, a hybrid buses in Champaign-Urbana, operations and maintenance center expansion in the Quad Cities, new training facilities in far southern Illinois, and much, much more.
This is the third round of transit funding through the state's Rebuild Illinois program. Illinois Comptroller Susanna Mendoza is making good on a $4.5 billion federal loan used to help the state get through the pandemic. The loan helps shore up the state's unemployment insurance fund, which was rapidly being depleted as so many people were out of work. Comptroller Mendoza says this will save big bucks in interest payments.
Paying this off early saves $20 million in interest costs for taxpayers that they would have been on the hook for in September had the loan not been paid off. So this is really great news.
Mendoza adds other states like California, New York, and Connecticut have yet to pay off their COVID unemployment insurance loans.
Interest payments are money that we'll never get back or be able to reinvest in economic growth or in education or in healthcare. So, having an extra $20 million that doesn't have to go out the door in interest is certainly of benefit to Illinois taxpayers.
The early repayment was part of an agreement between business and labor negotiators, the state and lawmakers. The deal will also put more money into the state's unemployment insurance and rainy day funds. January is Radon Action Month in Illinois. Radon is an odorless, colorless, tasteless gas that can cause major health problems like lung cancer, says State Emergency Management Agency spokesperson Kevin Sir. That's why it's important to check your home.
Radon test kits can be purchased at most hardware stores or department stores across the state. We usually recommend a short-term test and a long-term test to ensure consistent readings in your house.
If radon is detected, Sir says you should contact IEMA or a licensed mitigation professional.
Here in Illinois, about 1,100 people develop radon-related lung cancer each year. And so these are some pretty high numbers that we want to make sure that people have a way to test for radon in their homes.
Sir says radon test kits are available at most hardware and department stores. It's recommended you do both a short-term and long-term test. Trying to define what sustainability is within the beef value chain has been a long and ongoing process, unique for each aspect of the chain, as Rod Bain reports. It's 7:30. Network News is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he wishes that President Biden shared his enthusiasm for negotiations over the debt ceiling and spending cuts that could move Uncle Sam just a bit closer to a balanced budget. McCarthy accusing the president of dragging his feet on negotiations. Power outages, widespread property damage is significant following powerful storms across the South, including tornadoes. Some of the Houston suburbs, areas east of Houston, were hard hit. Today, it's the Southeast on the alert for possible severe weather. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures so far have been in negative territory, suggesting a lower open for the stock market later in the morning. Right now, the Dow futures are down 214 points, while the NASDAQ futures 150 points in the red. More details at srnnews.com.
Hello? Hey, stranger.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. In a game heard on WEZC and at DeWittDailyNews.com, Monticello hung with second-ranked Prairie Central, but senior Dylan Bizzell took things over in the fourth quarter, lifting the Hawks past the Sages 65-56 in Illini Prairie Conference High School boys basketball action Tuesday night from the Seaver Center at Monticello High School. The Hawks opened a 24-16 lead after a tight first quarter, looking like one of the favorites to get to Champaign in Class 2A might start to pull away, but the Sages closed the frame on a 17-9 run to go up 34-33. Trey Welter was fouled from beyond the arc twice in the final 3 minutes and 5 seconds of the second quarter, making all 6 free throws to spark the rally for Monticello. The third quarter went back and forth as the Sages went ahead 40-37 on a nifty Drew Shepard sweeping left-handed layup, but the Hawks retook the lead on a 7-0 run, 44-40 at the 5:20 mark of the third. A pair of Braden Colbert threes sandwiched a Will Ross layup to put Monticello back in front, 48-46, and Monticello led 51-50 headed to the fourth. But then Bizzell took over. He scored for the first 8 points for the Hawks to put Prairie Central up 58-52. Prairie Central led by as many as 11 in the fourth. Each team shot over 50% from the floor in a very clean first half, but regressed a bit in the second half. Monticello shot 46.5% for the game to Prairie Central's 45.8%. Bizzell tied the Seaver Center facility record with 29 points. Drew Fair had 13, and Camden Palmore scored 12. Shepard led a balanced Monticello attack with 17 points and was the Serve Pro of Piatt DeWitt County player of the game. Welter added 15 points, and Colbert scored 12 for the Sages. Monticello had 13 assists on its 20 field goals and turned the ball over only 11 times. The Hawks, meanwhile, committed just 8 turnovers for the game. Prairie Central held the rebounding edge 32-24. The Hawks moved to 19-2 overall and are 5-0 in the Illini Prairie. Meanwhile, Monticello drops to 13-8 overall and 2-2 in conference action. The road through the Illini Prairie doesn't get much easier for the Sages, who will battle number 8 St. Joseph Ogden on the road Friday night. Tip time is 7 p.m. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. 4 players scored in double figures, and Maroa-Forsyth overcame a slow start to roll Olympia 71-47 in Sangamo Conference High School boys basketball action from Maroa-Forsyth High School Tuesday night. The Spartans jumped out to an 18-10 lead after the first quarter, thanks to Easton Nowitzki scoring 7 of his 8 points in the frame. The Trojans were able to cut it down to a 32-27 deficit at the intermission, but Olympia outscored Olympia 20-7 to go up 40-34 after 3 and pulled away with a 24-8 fourth quarter. Zane Giles led the Trojans with 17 points, scoring 10 of those in the fourth quarter. Grant Smith added 16 points, 7 coming in the third. Mitch Williams had 15 points, and A.J. Massey contributed 12. The Trojans are back to 500 at 11-11 overall and 1-1 in the Sangamo. They travel to Petersburg Porta Friday for another Sangamo Conference Tilts. Terrence Shannon Jr. scored 12 of his 17 points in the first half. Jaden Epps scored 14 in his second career start as Illinois beat Ohio State 69-60 Tuesday night. Illinois scored 6 straight points, spanning halftime to build a 38-26 leading early in the second half. Ohio State scored the next 5 points before Epps opened and closed a 10-0 run with 3-pointers to extend it to a 48-31 lead. The Buckeyes would not get closer than 8 points the rest of the way. Matthew Mayer scored 12 points with 8 boards. Coleman Hawkins had 11 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 blocks for the 14-6 Illini, who move above 500, back to 5-4 in the Big Ten, and has won 5 of its last 6 games. Shannon made all 9 of his free throw attempts, grabbing 7 rebounds and dished out 3 assists. Illinois ranks 3rd in the country in block shots at 6 per game and finished with 6 against Ohio State. They shot 41% despite making just 5 of 28 from distance, and Ohio State was 22 of 60 from the floor. The Illini out-rebounded the Buckeyes 44-30 and had a 16-1 advantage in fast break points. Bryce Sensenbaugh scored 14. Justice Sewing had 13 for the 11-9 Buckeyes, who are 3-6 in the Big Ten. Sensenbaugh was coming off a season high, 27 points in a win over Iowa Saturday before being named the conference's Freshman of the Week for a 4th time this season. He has led the Buckeyes in scoring in 11 consecutive games. Illinois will travel north to face Wisconsin on Saturday. Benedict Mathurin and Miles Turner each scored 26 points, and Mathurin broke free for the decisive basket with 29.1 seconds left to give the Pacers a 116-110 victory over the Chicago Bulls on Tuesday night. Indiana snapped a season-worst 7-game losing streak by rallying from a double-digit deficit to win for the 11th time this season. 2 of those after trailing by 20 points or more, and barely stayed ahead of the 10th place Bulls in the Eastern Conference. The Pacers played again without injured point guard Tyrese Halliburton, and this time without his replacement Andrew Nebard, who was sick. TJ McConnell had 20 points and 10 assists for the Pacers, but without Turner's big third quarter and Mathurin playing the role of closer, Indiana would not have completed the rally. DeMar DeRozan scored 3 points to lead Chicago. Nikola Vucevic added 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists as his streak of 11 consecutive double-doubles also ended. While the game was physical and sometimes ugly, the Bulls seized control by quickly building a 20-5 lead and extending the margin 62-41 late in the first half. But on the second night of a back-to-back, the Bulls were wore down in the second half as the Pacers became the aggressors. With McConnell, Turner, and Mathurin leading the charge, the Pacers responded. They cut the deficit to 87-80 after 3 and continued the rally to the fourth, taking their first lead of the game at 102-100 on a McConnell reverse layup. With 4:27 to go, the teams traded leads 4 times after that and were tied 3 times until Mathurin's layup gave Indiana a 112-110 lead. The Pacers forced turnovers on each of the Bulls' next 2 possessions and made 4 straight free throws to seal it. Zach LaVine finished with 14 points. Derek Jones had 10. Buddy Hield had 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 4 3-pointers for the Pacers. The Bulls make their second stop on a 3-game trip Thursday to Charlotte. Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner each had a goal and 2 assists as the Buffalo Sabres blasted the St. Louis Blues 5-3 Tuesday night. Thompson extended his point streak to 5 games, his 3rd streak of 5 or more games this season. It was also his 9th game this season with 3 or more points. Skinner also has a 5-game point streak, his 2nd such this season. Alex Tuch had a goal and an assist. Owen Power and Dylan Cousins scored for the Sabres, who snap a 9-game losing streak in St. Louis dating back to 2012. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen made 26 saves for Buffalo, who improved to 2-6-1 in the second game of back-to-backs this season, but not before nearly blowing a 4-goal lead. Ivan Barbashev, Braden Shen, and Jordan Kyrou scored for the Blues, who finished 3-4 on their longest homestand of the season. Jordan Binnington had 26 saves. Buffalo took control from the opening faceoff with 2 quick goals goals 25 seconds apart. Skinner gave the Sabres the lead 60 seconds in. Thompson created the chance by stripping Tyler Pitlick of the puck in front of the Blues net and fed Skinner. Tooch followed moments later, burying Skinner's feet from behind the St. Louis net. Power made it 3-0 midway through the first, scoring on a perfect backdoor feed from J.J. Patirka. Thompson added his 33rd of the season on a backhander 70 seconds into the second. Back-to-back goals from Barbashev and Shen in the second gave the Blues some life. Defenseman Torrey Krug and Justin Falk assisted on both goals. Kairu's goal from the high slot 47 seconds into the third cut it to 4-3, forcing Lokinen to make several big saves on high-quality chances from Brandon Saad and Vladimir Tarasenko to preserve the lead. The Blues had a 6-on-4 after Peyton Krebs was called for a face-off violation with a minute 46 left, but Cousins' empty netter with a minute left sealed it. Tarasenko and Krug both returned for the Blues. Tarasenko sat out 10 games with a hand injury, while Krug missed 13 due to a lower body injury. The Blues placed left winger Pavel Buchnevich on injured reserve after he underwent a surgical procedure to address an ankle infection. Buchnevich has 38 points with 15 goals and 23 assists in 38 games and will be reevaluated after the All-Star break. The Blues play at Arizona on Thursday night. Dakota Joshua and Sheldon Dries scored 34 seconds apart in the third period, and the Canucks beat the Blackhawks 5-2 Tuesday night in Tuchit's debut. Tuchit was named the 21st head coach in Canucks history Sunday after Bruce Boudreau was fired along with assistant Trent Cole. Vancouver hired Adam Foote as an assistant coach and Sergei Genchar as a defensive development coach. There was a mixture of boos and cheers when Tuchit was introduced to the crowd during the first period. The game was 3 minutes and 30 seconds old when a fan threw a Canucks jersey on the ice. Vancouver failed to score on 5 power play chances, but outshot the Blackhawks 48-14 and overcame a pair of 1-goal deficits. Andrei Kuzmenko scored twice for the Canucks, who snapped a 3-game losing streak. Elias Pettersson and defenseman Luke Shen both added 2 assists. Bo Horvat scored shorthanded into an empty net, matching a career high of 31 goals this season. Patrick Kane and Sam Lafferty scored for the 14, 28, and 4 Blackhawks, who lost their second in a row following a 3-game win streak. Peter Mrazek made 43 saves. Vancouver goaltender Colin Delia stopped 12 shots. The Canucks' go-ahead goal came seconds after Kane whiffed on a good scoring chance. Vancouver defenseman Quinn Hughes sent the puck up the ice, and Brock Bozer tried to bank in a shot from a sharp angle. Mrazek stopped the puck, but Joshua chipped it over the sprawled goalie for a 3-2 lead at 11:34. Kuzmenko scored his 20th and 21st goals in the second period to tie it at 2 after 40. The Blackhawks are at Calgary on Thursday. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. A winter weather advisory continues until 6